Hello everyone, I'm Maria and welcome to my Nook. In today's video, I'm going to show you all the books that I want to read in this year. Or I'm planning or hoping to be able to read this year. It's quite an ambitious TBR list, if I'm being honest. But I'm trying, okay? I'll try and I'll see at the end of the year how much I got done. So right now I'm currently reading The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. I am on page, let me check, 112, and I am absolutely in love. I'm absolutely in love. I love Olive. I like Adam so far. I mean, he's an ass, but literally the synopsis says so. And everyone says so. So it's not a surprise. It's not that the author hasn't managed to write a sympathetic character or something. He's supposed to be an ass. You know, everyone knows that, and that's the point of him. But I like the way that he's written so far, and I think there's a lot in store for these two, and I'm very excited to see where this book is going. I do own the complete Sherlock Holmes, which is thick AF. It's like 1,000 pages long, and I'm not even kidding. It's got 1,077 pages. It holds all of the Sherlock Holmes stories, and I've read some of them already. Not all of them yet, and I'm planning to read some more this year, which is why I'm holding this up. Alright, then I am also planning on reading The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which I've heard quite a lot about, and I'm very excited to read this. I'm obviously also planning on reading The Hawthorne Legacy, which is the second part of The Inheritance Games. There's also the third part of the because this is the trilogy, as far as I know, and the third part is coming out in August, which I'm very excited about. I'm basically waiting for the third part to come out before I start these books. So yeah, I'm planning on reading these. I really want to read Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. Hope that's how you pronounce his name. But I've heard that it's got some darker themes, or maybe not darker themes, but like, how do I put this? I feel like I need to be in the right mood for this book, which is why I haven't started it yet, but I do want to read it because it sounds very interesting. Then I've got the Ex Hex by Erin Sterling on my shelf. It just, I don't know, it just sounded so funny somehow. It's about this witch that... Hang on, let me read the synopsis to you. Vivian Jones handled the biggest breakup of her life the way that any witch would. Vodka, bubble baths, and a curse on her ex. That was 9 years ago. Now Rhys Panhello, hope that's how you pronounce his name, descendant of the town's founders, breaker of hearts, and still irritatingly gorgeous, is back. Rhys has returned to the quaint town of Graves Glen to recharge the ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall festival. But when his every move results in calamity, Vivi realizes that hexing her ex might not have been so harmless after all. As the curse starts to affect the magic of the town, resulting in murderous wind-up toys, an outraged ghost, and a surprisingly talkative cat, Vivi and Riz must put their personal feelings aside and work together to break the curse and save not just the town, but also Riz's life. Yeah, I don't know, I just thought that sounded pretty funny, even though there seems to be a lot of misery going on. Yeah, really looking forward to this book. Next up is Loveless by Alice Oseman. I was about to say one of her books, but I think it's not just one of her books, but a series of her books. The Heartstopper series, if I'm not mistaken, by Alice Oseman, was actually made into a Netflix series that premiered recently, as far as I know. And yeah, this one is about Georgia that is struggling to figure out whether she may be asexual, aromantic, or something entirely different. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to read about a story like that. Then I've got The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which I've heard a lot about. So let's see what this book, it's only one, holds for me. Also on my list is What If by Randall Munroe. I've already started this book, as you can see. Got my little bookmark in here. Currently, I'm kind of using it for reading in between books because I sometimes need a day or two to come down from one book before I can start the next book, just to let my mind settle a bit and like, yeah, just process the last book I finished before I start the next one, you know? And that's what this book is pretty good for, because it's full of what if questions. Like, I'm gonna just open it at where my bookmark is at. This question says, when, if ever, will the bandwidth of the internet surpass that of FedEx? I don't know, but the author will answer that in this book. And he'll answer that in, let me check, 1, 2, 3 pages. So yeah, that's just for when I'm in between books and want to read a little bit. I'll just read maybe 3 questions and I will have read on that day without having started a new book, and I'll have let my brain process the last book, you know. And it's really interesting. I love this book so much because this book was just made for me, actually, because these what if questions are exactly the kind of questions that I used to ask as a kid. And you know how people say that every kid has this question phase where kids just ask question after question after question, and it's just like, why is the sky blue? And then the kids just proceed to ask, but why? And then the parents keep explaining and they just keep asking, but why? Or stuff like that, you know. And I just kind of never exited that phase. I just continue to ask weird, hypothetical, what if questions. Because that's how my brain works. So I love this book. And I'm just continuously reading it every once in a while, basically. Okay, next up on my TBR list is My Mess is a Bit of a Life by Georgia Pritchett. I've seen this book in one of Noel Gallagher's Noel's book videos, and it's about Georgia, actually, as far as I know, who's writing about her anxiety, basically. Let me read you the thing on the back. Multi-award winning television writer and producer Georgia Pritchett knows a thing or two about anxiety. From worrying about the monsters under her bed as a child, were they comfy enough? To embracing womanhood. One way of knowing you have crossed from girlhood to womanhood is that men stop furtively masturbating at you from bushes and start shouting things at you from cars. It's a beautiful moment. Worry has accompanied her at every turn. This memoir is a joyful reflection on just how to live, and sometimes even thrive, sometimes not, with anxiety. It also says up here, I think it's an excerpt from the book, I didn't like parties when I was a child because, well, who really likes parties? But one time I came back from a party and to my parents' amazement I said I had had a good time. Why? They asked. I had cake and I didn't join in any of the party games. This has very much been my approach to life. And I'm interested in this book, I want to read it. Set boundaries, find peace. A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself by Nedra Tawwab. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. This book was actually recommended to me by a friend before I saw it anywhere online. So yeah, that's why I want to read it. And then we've got The Atlas 6 by Olivie Blake. I've heard so much about this book and I'm so excited to finally get into it because I had so much struggle to find a way to even buy this book for quite a while, and then I had to wait until I could buy it again and blah 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 blah. And then I received it in the mail, but I was in the middle of that A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, and I obviously wanted to finish that first, and once I had finished that, I was more in the mood for some romance than fantasy dark academia, which is what this is. So I started reading The Love Hypothesis instead of this. But it's very high up on my TBR list. I mean, obviously depending on my mood, but I'm really excited for this book. I've heard so much about you, please don't disappoint me. Okay, and now onto some books that are on my TBR list, but not in my shelf yet. Those are, as I've already mentioned, the third book to the Inheritance Games series, which is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Then Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and then Booked on a Feeling by Jayci, which comes out in July. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I've ordered it already, but I haven't gotten it in the mail yet. I'm waiting for it. I'm so excited for it. I've heard so many good things about it. Then also Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. And yeah, that's about it, actually, the books I want to read this year. I'm trying to read this year. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up maybe, and let me know in the comments which books are on your TBR list. And I'll see you in the next video, or maybe somewhere else on the internet. Bye!